Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Whoa, yeah, this is Scare Talk. I'm Danny, and I'm here with the majestic Joel.
Oh, wow.
And the notorious Katrina.
Oh, okay.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hello.
All right, so today we are going to talk about 2009's Trick or Treat.
Yes.
Trick or
treats.
Yes.
There actually is a trick or treat.
Yes.
So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so this one is the anthology Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
Joel, who was in this?
All right. So this one, I usually say starring, but they're all pretty much just like supporting characters.
Yeah.
So this one stars Dylan Baker. He's the killer in the second story. The one that has like the jack-o'-lantern hat, kills a little boy in the beginning of the movie. And yeah. He was in Spider-Man 2 and 3, Changing Lanes, and The Cell.
Okay.
And also Anna Paquin, another supporting actress in this. She was in the first 3 X-Men movies, True Blood, and what I remember her first was a movie called Fly Away Home with Jeff Daniels.
Oh, okay. Yeah, with the birds?
Yeah.
Was she like a little kid?
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
She was like a main character, but yeah, she was a little kid.
What the heck? I haven't thought of that movie since I was like 10. Probably.
I know.
Is she the innocent one in this movie?
At one point we will talk about her character. Yeah. So, but I don't. Yes and no, I guess. And also Brian Cox. He's the old man neighbor.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Who has that fight with
Sam.
Sam, yeah, Sam, yeah.
How could you forget his name?
I know. He was in Braveheart, Super Troopers 1 and 2, The Bourne Identity and Supremacy, and most recently he's in the HBO show Succession.
Okay. And
this was written by Michael Dougherty. Mm-hmm. He wrote the screenplay, and the story was by him for Superman Returns. X-Men 2. He did the screenplay for. And Godzilla, King of the Monsters. He did the screenplay and story.
All right.
And he also directed this movie. And he directed Krampus. Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Oh.
And he is doing Trick or Treat 2.
Oh, there's going to be a number 2?
There's going to be a sequel. Trick or Treat. Yeah. He's also writing it too.
Oh,
so,
wow. Cool.
It doesn't have, they don't really know when it's going to come out, but it is announced at least. Okay. So.
Usually these types of movies.
Time coming. So.
Yeah. Usually these types of movies are multiple writers and directors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just him.
But it was just one, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
It's kind of weird that it's an anthology when usually that's the whole point, to have multiple writers writing stories.
Different stories,
yeah.
So an anthology means that there was like Trick or Treat and it's going off of like that?
Trick or Treat is the title, but there's like 5 intertwining stories in this one movie. So they're all separate, but they're all connected at the same time.
Yeah. Is there 5 different
5
stories?
Yeah.
5 different stories?
Yeah.
all on Halloween night. You know, some have like different tones to them. Some are kind of funny. You know, we got werewolves. We got murderous father. We've got like a haunted lake.
Yeah.
Little urban legend story.
Yeah.
We have a vampire, and so yeah, and then a killer pumpkin kid.
Killer pumpkin boy head kid.
So all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it all takes place in the same town, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, and the same night.
It's like the same neighborhood type area, because a lot of their lives are like they all seem like they all live like right next to each other.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
at least most of the characters do.
All right, so what did you guys like about this one? Did you like it?
I did.
Katrina, did you like it?
No.
No?
No? Oh,
No.
wow. Okay.
Oh,
really.
All right.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, positives first.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. No, I wasn't a huge fan. I didn't like there being all these different stories, and then it didn't. Well, we're supposed to talk about positives, so no. I will tell you
Negatives is gonna be fun.
the positives. The positive for it is I did feel like it was something different, something I don't feel like I've ever really watched a movie quite like this before. The kills were different. Not my favorite, but they were definitely unique.
Yeah.
I was glad that they ended up connecting the stories in the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there
Yeah,
was
that's when they
some
really
kind of,
connected them. Yeah.
yeah. So then there was some kind of answer to why we're all over the place.
Yeah, you didn't know this was going to be like that going
No,
in. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about what this was. I just knew about the pumpkin guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know when you ever find out his name is Sam. I don't know how you
It doesn't
discovered
ever
that.
say it.
Yeah.
It's just in the credits. His name is Sam.
Oh, it's
He
in the
just
credits.
plays Sam. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, a little backstory. We went to the spirit store
Oh,
to
okay.
get decorations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam is there many times, different things.
Like all over.
Yeah, for him.
That's crazy. After 11 years
Yeah.
of this movie coming
Yeah.
out.
And never
He's still
seen
so popular.
anything at a Halloween place until now.
Mm-hmm.
That, 11 years later. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, we have to watch Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
And so,
So I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be some great movie. And I'm thinking this is going to be the main star was this pumpkin guy. And I'm thinking it must be pretty amazing, the fact that, like, it's all over the spirit store,
Instant classic.
it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
For sure. It's gained a following over the years.
It's interesting. So then I have a favorite part.
Okay.
My favorite part was when he was okay to, like, just walk away after getting the candy bar. Like, it was like,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like,
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
He's about to
I'm
kill
done.
him, and then, oh, it's candy. Like, he's about to stab him, but he stabs the candy bar instead and
Yeah.
starts
He's
eating
like,
it.
With his,
Cool.
with his
Like-
lollipop.
Yeah, like, he's like a real kid.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think he ever even wanted to kill him. I think he just wanted the
just wants
candy. He was
candy.
just trying to get his candy from him the whole time.
yeah. Well, and he was trying
So
to
he got
get
it
him
and
to
walk
give
away.
out
Yeah.
candy to
Yeah.
others. The old man story was definitely the best. If it had just been that story, I would have liked this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
That
other
was at the
stories.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
you like the last 15 minutes of the movie.
yeah.
That's definitely, I think, everybody's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. I felt like the overall theme was to respect Halloween.
Yes.
Or else.
Yes. Give out candy. Don't blow out those pumpkins.
Yeah,
Those candles.
Just
Don't
be
start
respectful.
putting
That's
away
why-
the decorations.
Maybe that's why Trick or Treat was so prominent in the spirit stores, because they're trying to take Halloween from us this year, and they're like,
Yeah. So they're like, no, respect the holiday. So, those are my positives. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Joel?
It's respectable. So I've seen this movie twice now. And the first time was with you. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
2, maybe 3 times over the course of 11 years. One of them being just this weekend. I think the first time was with you, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Like renting it from Hollywood Video and everything. For it being, I think it was just a straight to DVD release.
Yeah.
It was a lot better, especially for movies back then that were released straight to DVD. It was definitely more, where I'm looking for here.
Higher quality?
Higher quality, just better done compared to most movies that were released to DVD. I enjoyed the kill scenes in the movie. They were definitely interesting. But I like originality, and a lot of this movie was original.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely another positive for me. I didn't hate the acting. It wasn't the greatest. I would say it was probably like neutral, if anything. But some of it was pretty good. The killer and his son. If the old man story isn't my favorite, then the killer is probably my second favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I liked the son irritated me. He was probably the worst part of the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's like yelling from upstairs, like, I'm trying to do something here.
Yeah.
He was really
Charlie
annoying.
Brown's an asshole.
Yeah.
Why is Charlie Brown's an asshole?
But after you see with that story, the end of how that story ends with the little overweight boy getting killed. Spoiler alert for people who haven't seen an 11-year-old movie. The little boy from Bad Santa gets killed.
Oh yeah, he's from Bad Santa.
Yeah. I knew I recognized that kid. I feel like he's in a couple different things.
Yeah. But they use his head as like a jack-o'-lantern, which was a really disturbing way of ending that story. It's like, all right, no, it's like teaching your kid how to be a psychopath, basically.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I like the werewolf part of it.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
It was like the CGI it's a straight to DVD movie, so you're not gonna get the best quality but it's hard to do a werewolf movie right. Like it, that whole scene with him turning and again connecting it to the other story with the serial killer. Yeah. Because he's the one that's about to die in that scene.
Yeah. And he's the vampire.
He's that vampire.
Yeah. So it was good. I enjoyed that scene. Seeing and Anna Paquin was the one on like top of him, I guess the innocent one.
I guess Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, Red Riding Hood. Okay. Who turns into a werewolf. Which,
yeah.
The irony in that. So yeah, I enjoyed the stories. I enjoyed some of the acting in it. The kill scenes were good. I don't remember a lot of like the music, but I do remember liking some of the music in it. Mm-hmm. Some of like the score and everything. So yeah, those are my biggest positives, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so for me, it really felt like a Halloween movie to me. It really felt like it took place on Halloween night. Yeah. Which I love that. When
you kept saying that.
When a movie
it feels like Halloween.
Well, it's important for a
he was trying to make sure I felt that
way. So I did notice. I'll go through my positives and then mention what you were talking about. But Sam, I really liked him. I like his little outfit and his burlap mask.
Burlap sack mask. Yeah.
And then when his mask comes off, then he's even crazier. Mm-hmm. I thought the effects in that scene when his hand is coming back and getting connected to to his arm again, and you know he gets shot, and it's like pumpkin guts.
Yeah,
he gets shot like 3 times in the face and still lives.
Well, I mean, he's a pumpkin.
Well, yeah.
I thought that was cool. Some of it was just funny, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fun movie.
Yeah.
I thought that the story with the kids, with the bus.
Oh yeah.
That urban legend story. I thought it was a cool story, and I thought it could have been done pretty good, but it felt like a Goosebumps story. But that's not necessarily, I'm saying, a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Something wrong with Goosebumps.
Yeah. I like that it had each story kind of had its own feel. You know. I like that they kind of connected everything in the end, which was cool. And speaking of the music, with the kids' story, I felt like the music really made it feel like a children's or like a teenage story or movie. Just like the way the music was.
Yeah.
It kind of made me think like this is Goosebumps or this is, you know, like a Disney Channel Halloween special.
Well, that's not a good...
Well, that's what it felt like.
But yeah.
You know, so I thought, you know, there was some stuff where it's like, you know, maybe you don't want your teenagers to see it. But for the most part, I felt like it was kind of a movie that was appropriate for teenagers.
Yeah.
Depending on what you want them to watch, but...
Yeah.
But especially that story.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. Do you guys want to go in... Let's go into our favorite quotes.
Oh, okay.
From this, since we're talking about positives. So, this is a new segment we're going to start doing.
Yes.
Whenever Joel remembers to get a quote.
Hey.
So, we're going to talk about it, and then then we're going to play the actual quote from the movie. So,
Okay.
Katrina, let's start with you. What did you like?
So mine is during the Sam time, the old man.
Yeah.
And he has cut Sam's hand off, and Sam's laying down, and he's like thinking he's okay, and then all of a sudden his hand starts crawling across. So there's two quotes, so you have to put like both of them in maybe. And so his hand's crawling across, and then he says,
"Oh, I'm recording."
Whoops. No, that's the other one. So when the hand's crawling across, he first says...
Okay, let me get it. Okay.
And then when it connects itself onto the hand or onto his arm,
yeah,
and he starts sitting up, he goes, just what does he say? No, it's not there. You have to get to the... And the way he says, "Oh no," it's like he's just like, "Oh my gosh, this is happening."
Oh, that's good. Okay, that was funny. I'm gonna have to edit quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
All right, Joel, what is your favorite part? Favorite quote?
The scene I was kind of like talking about it earlier with it's part of the Anna Paquin werewolf scene. Like it's not like the greatest quote ever, but I like how it kind of just goes with the scene. How she is Little Red Riding Hood, for Halloween, and she's turning into a werewolf, and she's on top of like the serial killer, the killer from the other story, and she goes. I don't know if that actually played it.
You have to turn your volume up.
It was up all the way.
It's so quiet.
You can kind of hear it. It's what big eyes you have. It's just I don't know. It's not a great quote, but it out of context, it's not good. But it's being Little Red Riding Hood turning into a werewolf and having that it fit. It was very appropriate for for the moment, and I like that quote. So I'm not sure how much of it you're going to be able to hear on that. But.
So mine is kind of similar to that, but mine's with the killer and his son.
Mm-hmm.
And before this part, he's talking about wanting to carve his jack-o'-lantern.
Mm-hmm.
His son is.
Yeah.
And he's yelling to his dad, like, don't forget to help me with the eyes. And so then when you find out that the jack-o'-lantern is this actual other little boy's head, then he says it.
Lots of editing for this.
Don't forget to help me with the eyes.
There you go. It sounds so crazy outside of watching the movie.
Yeah. Out of context, it's, a lot of these are like, okay, what are you... All right. If we were just playing these clips without actually explaining anything, people that haven't seen it are like, what are you talking about? Okay, that's your favorite quote?
The other quote I was gonna pick was one that you already said earlier, was the Charlie Brown reference.
Yeah.
But I couldn't pick that little boy. He was
really annoying. He was the worst.
Negatives.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of, the little boy.
I do. But my first negative was what you talked about as a positive.
Me?
Yes.
Oh.
I did not like how it felt like this Goosebumps movie and trying to do a Goosebumps movie for adults at times. And it was like, this is just...
like out of place.
Yeah, and I didn't like that all the stories seemed like completely different movies. Like they were filmed by some other like each one was produced and directed by someone else.
Yeah.
Instead of like having some kind of similarity within the movie, it was like I felt like I was watching a bunch of different movies.
Yeah.
And then you're all of a sudden just going to try to tie it together and be like, okay, that was the same movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't like that. I didn't like it.
Well, you probably don't like anthologies then.
No,
Anthology
I wouldn't
movies.
mind if it didn't feel like a completely different movie. I wouldn't mind that.
Well,
like,
anthologies typically don't tie together at the end.
Even if
like
it didn't
this.
tie together, that's
Okay.
fine.
Oh, okay.
But it shouldn't be a completely different feel, a completely different movie. Like, all of a sudden I'm getting into this, and then now I'm watching this whole different movie, and like...
Oh, because it wasn't
short
linear.
stories.
So it wasn't like you watch one movie, and then you watch the next one, and then you watch the next one. It was more like, I'm going to watch a scene from this movie, and then a scene from a different movie, and then... That's kind of what this movie was like.
Well,
you weren't seeing it all at once.
Yeah, and it also was just... I don't know. It was just completely different movies.
Yeah.
Like, the scores were... Like you said, like,
Yeah.
it felt like a completely different movie watching the Lake Story.
Yeah.
And, like it was all of a sudden this, like, Disney movie, like... Goosebumps. Like, what? Did this just get, like, switched? Did someone put a VHS in all of a sudden? Like, it just, I don't know. It was,
VHS, that's another anthology.
It is.
I do not like that either, so maybe I don't like anthologies, but, yeah, I didn't like that. It was really obnoxious to me.
Okay.
It felt like also, like, I kept thinking, are they trying to be like scary stories, the scary stories you tell in the dark, you know?
Yeah.
And that movie was done great, and that's a
Yeah.
bunch of different stories. But
Yeah.
okay.
I could see that comparison. Yes.
And then I didn't know how I felt about having like multiple villains too. Like
Okay.
it bugged me, although I did like the principal dad, you know, as the villain serial killer. I didn't like when then he was like this vampire killer and then he was the same guy. Like, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
that was dumb.
That was kind of weird.
And I liked Sam. So I liked the two guys. I just wasn't sure how I felt about it in like the one movie. It's like, okay, choose a story.
Yeah.
Stick with it.
Well, I mean, if you're a vampire by night, then it kind of makes sense that you'd be like a serial killer. Also, like it's
Yeah, but he was
it's
just
kind of like
dressed up like a vampire.
Yeah, he wasn't
They
really.
took his teeth off.
yeah.
And then that didn't make sense because he just bit this other girl.
He
Like,
bit hard.
what did he like do to
He
actually
bit her really hard
really hard
with his plastic teeth.
with his plastic teeth? So,
Sharp plastic.
and I felt like none of the villains were actually scary.
Yeah. No.
They
no,
were
no.
scary. Yeah, and then I mean, I kind of went over it. I just didn't like it. Even after you tried to put all the stories together, it was like, okay, you're just trying to save the movie at this point.
Well, and especially when they have to go like earlier, and then what was it? Earlier, later,
Yeah.
and earlier. When they had to give you that, like,
Yeah.
The
this
little
happened
comic.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that could work,
comic strip.
but
little-
because of
Yeah.
how
Before.
disconnected the stories were and how like different the stories were, it just made it hard to get into any of them. It's like I said, right when you're getting into it, then it's like scene,
Yeah.
like next movie.
Does that make it better or worse that it's one writer as opposed to like 5 different writers? Because the feel you were saying is kind of felt like multiple writers were involved in the making of this movie, but there's only one writer that did the whole movie. So does that make...
No, this one writer just needs to learn how to write a full story instead of just a bunch of different. Like, just finish a story.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like you're reading his journal and he just keeps going off a topic and you're just like, okay, we'll just record what he wrote, you know, and like,
Yeah.
this is the
What-
order he wrote it in.
What it seems like is it was a bunch of short stories, short films that were cut up and put together in a full film. So it'd be like 5 minutes of one film, 5 minutes of the next, 5 minutes of the next, and then 5 minutes of the first film, and then, you know, it kind of jumped around like that.
Yeah.
So it was like 20-minute or 15-minute little short movies.
Yeah, and if they had maybe like 3 of those stories
Yeah.
in, then that would have been, then they could have extended them.
Yeah.
And still gone back and forth. They didn't even need to connect.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool to, like, you know, if they had to me, they could have done it with the principal guy, you know, and his son, and the guy next door, and see all the ones that have to do with Sam, kind of,
Yeah.
and the chick that was killed at the
At
beginning.
the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, if they had just those 3 stories, throw out the stupid werewolf story, throw out the stupid
Urban legend
story. Like,
Yeah.
those had nothing
That's like,
to
oh,
do
you know what?
with
That's
anything.
like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? That's what that is. Not Goosebumps. More so, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Well,
That's what that reminded
Urban
me of.
Legend.
but the Urban
Yeah.
Legend one totally felt like Goosebumps. I've never seen Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay.
But it totally felt like Goosebumps.
Yeah.
But those stories had nothing to do with any. They were completely different type
Yeah.
of story.
Yeah.
And so just leave those out. They ruined the entire movie.
Well, I mean, the Urban Legends one, it was just, I mean, it's basically just a group of friends getting together on Halloween. I mean, it's like telling ghost stories that actually come to life.
Yeah, and
But
that's a
it's
totally
like-
okay movie to have, but not with another. You don't put that in with another movie
Yeah.
that's
Mm-hmm.
not about that.
Yeah, because
Unless they got attacked by Sam too or something.
I mean,
like,
Sam was there
Yeah, he was.
at one point.
it would have
He
been
was with
great
them.
if he would have.
He like pops up in all the stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some point.
No, I see what you're saying because the neighbors. I think they were they all neighbors? I think they were.
Yeah.
They were all really close to each other. Those
Yeah.
three.
Yeah,
that you're
the one
talking
was
about.
across the street.
Yeah.
The chick that got killed at the beginning,
Yeah.
she was across the street. And then
The old man and the
old man
killer
and the killer
were
next door.
next door neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
I
keep
could see
it
that,
with that.
within just keeping it there.
Just like a whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a
I
messed
mean,
up neighborhood.
they were all at the same party because, like, the chick was at the party that he killed the chick at.
Yeah. Yeah.
The chick and the chick.
You haven't memorized their names yet?
I know.
Okay.
So, anyway, that's my negatives.
All right.
It's,
Joel, do you have any negatives?
All right. I don't have as many as some people, but I did enjoy the movie. It was I like Sam. I like little Pumpkinhead boy.
Yeah.
I was talking about the CGI,
Yeah.
like not being great, but for like a straight to DVD movie, it was pretty good. I didn't care for little Pumpkinhead boy when he
No?
took off his sack.
Man.
I thought the CGI was a little bad on that.
Well,
on that
it
part.
was silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
another
it would have
Goosebumps
been
time.
it would have been creepier to just have him just be this unknown
Yeah.
little sack boy. Like we don't
Yeah.
know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Instead of this like creature from like another planet or something. I don't know what they were going for with him. But I mean, yeah. That and the little boy, probably my two biggest negatives in this movie.
Yeah.
And the little boy was only in like a little 5-minute clip, a little scene. So
Yeah.
the
I didn't
worst
think he was that bad. I thought he was kind of funny.
He was
oh,
annoying.
he was so annoying. Like, Dad! And you could tell it was like they were trying to get us to be scared, you know, for this guy to be, you know, he was trying to
To be
build
caught or
anxiety or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just like, shut up.
Yeah, I know he was really annoying. Like, you want to come downstairs? Like, talk to me as
Yeah.
don't yell
That's
from
the
upstairs.
point,
Like,
though.
that's
Isn't that the point?
they're probably going for like comedy or something.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I
whole
thought it
Charlie
was
Brown
funny.
part was funny.
Charlie Brown was funny.
I liked that part, but like his character was so annoying.
It was. And it just made your skin crawl every time he's like, Dad!
All right.
You're
Wow.
like,
Okay.
So, I think those are my two negatives, like two biggest negatives that I have for this movie. And they're not even like all together. Those two were probably in like 10 minutes of this entire movie.
Yeah.
Because you don't see Sackboy without his
Sackboy.
or Pumpkinhead boy without his without his
I like Sackboy.
it's a burlap sack.
I think
I know.
that's
It's
a good
just
name
funny.
for him.
You don't see him without his mask for only for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I am kind of I'm not entirely sure if I missed something at the end of the movie with the old man neighbor when he answers the door, and there's those like three other like he's about to basically get killed in that scene.
Yeah.
I don't. Who are they? Like,
What? You really don't know?
I don't remember.
They're the
Oh, that's
kids from the lake.
That's the
Oh,
lake.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were. That's right.
It's not important.
That's how they got connected.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was the connection.
I was like, did he like call his friends over?
Yeah, his three little henchmen or
Yeah.
something? Or 8? There's like 6 or 8 of them?
There
Yeah,
was
there was a
five
few.
of them.
Yeah.
5 of them? Okay. 4?
No, 5.
7?
Okay. Yeah, that makes. Yeah.
I thought that
I
was kind of a
figured-
cool story, though. The whole bus
Yeah.
urban legend. I thought that story was cool, but
Yeah. I mean, I had no problem with any of the stories itself, but I can see where you're coming from with as far as being a little disjointed with a couple of the stories. Like, it would have been better if it was just like the whole neighborhood. like the 3 neighborhood stories or whatever.
Yeah.
But I liked the urban legend, and I liked the werewolf scene. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. So
Thanks, Joe.
no problem.
Okay, so for me, the werewolf CGI was kind of lame.
It's hard to do werewolf
Yeah,
CGI.
like
and
the transformation when they're like ripping their skin off and stuff.
mm-hmm.
That was okay, but once they were werewolves, then it was like,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
The Anna Paquin transformation was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and she's
yeah.
like, she's still her, but she's
Yeah.
turning into the werewolf.
Yeah,
So that was kind of cool.
but yeah, when they actually are werewolves, then it looked weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and I don't really have any other negatives. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fun movie. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so werewolf CGI.
Yeah,
Was...
that's about it. Well, actually, I could do without the vampire part. Wasn't really necessary for that. I mean, I guess it was to add in another Halloween-like character,
Yeah.
like a vampire. But
You got werewolves, you have to have vampires,
Yeah.
right, in your story.
I didn't think it was necessary. But yeah, I guess it goes with the werewolves. So, and then the werewolves go with the Little Red Riding Hood, and
Yeah.
so just so deep.
It was. It was a very deep,
But
connected everything.
yeah, the whole
Halloween.
theme Katrina hit was respecting Halloween.
Yeah.
Respect the
Every
dead
movie,
in the lake.
Every good movie's got to have a theme.
Respect the candy, the
Mhm.
pumpkins, the decorations. Or
Yep.
Sam is gonna get you.
Yeah. No, he just wants his chocolate.
Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah, he really does.
stab you with his bitten lollipop or sucker or whatever.
It's like a candy cane. It's like... Oh, man.
Okay, so what do you guys want to grade this?
I gave it a 69.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I really did. I mean, I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times in 11 years. So I think that kind of speaks for
So how
itself.
much
Kind
you
of. Like,
enjoyed it?
I liked it, but it's just like there's definitely like better Halloween movies out there. I would give it a 78.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going...
Still a high score for horror. Like,
Yeah.
70s and even 60s are still
so
pretty
decent.
respectable.
I'm going 84.
84.
Yeah, 84. I think I've seen it probably 5 times,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Yeah.
I want to watch it again.
Right now, let's just put it on.
All right, so, well, this is our... I mean, we had the Halloween series that we're
Mhm.
still putting out.
Yeah.
But this is like our first Halloween movie besides
Yeah.
those Halloween time movies. So
Mhm.
we know we're going to do those.
Yeah.
Yeah, what other movies take place on Halloween?
I'm sure there's
Yeah,
several,
there's-
but we got.
I mean, all the Halloween movies.
Well, yeah.
but we're
already doing those.
So,
Yeah. We've already
but yeah,
done those.
we'll-
We're just putting them out.
Yeah, we'll find some more.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, at least those 2. Okay, so this has been our episode for Trick or Treat. You can find us on Facebook at Scare Talk Podcast.
Oh, Hocus
We're on
Pocus.
Twitter at Scare Talk Pod, and you can listen to us on pretty much any podcast streaming platform. And this has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let the sock boy bite.